Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Follow your feelings, 6 degrees of separation style. I don't know what I'm calling it. It's going to be something along those lines. But this really got inspired by, one, a video I did 4 years ago. It's literally almost called the same thing. And I saw YouTube shared it with me on an email thing that they send out. Like, oh, 4 years ago, you did this. And I looked at it, and I was like, it has 65 views or something like that. And I was like laughing. I'm like, this is where I came from. And I'm still growing and growing quickly right now. And it's awesome. And I'm enjoying this. But at the same time, it's a process for any people that are trying to create anything or manifest anything. It is a process. Now, the big key that really comes in on this, and it's sort of taken from, I saw the play and I read the play when I was younger in college, called 6 Degrees of Separation, and there's another game that some people play that's called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. But it's the fact that there are connecting people that kind of circle back to us. So if you go out and say you had a friend that's close to you, and then they're close to somebody, and then that person's close to somebody, and that person's close to somebody, and then like within, they say, so many degrees, it comes back to you. It creates these interesting little circles. And there's some validity to it. And there's been some people that have actually done some studies and really looked into it. And it's just kind of ironic. And the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon's hilarious for anyone that actually knows actors and movies really well. It's actually fascinating how they can actually always get back to Kevin Bacon at some point within, I think it's 6 steps. Anyway, following your feelings is key. And the reason I want to tie these two together just early on in the video, and then I'll try to talk about it a little, maybe give it context, but it's when we're trying to create things in our life, a lot of us wonder, who should I talk to? When is it inspired action? When should I act? When is it better to sit back and kind of let things happen? And the feeling component is what's going to lead you in a lot of these directions. And the other thing that I kind of want to couple on that is sometimes when you do something that seems like it's not related to anything else at all, directly at least, has a ripple effect or has a 6 degrees of separation effect where it seems to affect another, who affects another, who affects another, who then comes back and affects us. And that's really how that ripple effect kind of concept works. So feelings is a component that I consider very important. I've talked about it a number of times. It's not one of the most popular topics I talk about, but feelings is really a key way to learn to understand your soul, if you will. It's like the part of you that I think is eternal. Can't prove it. Pretty sure that part of us, though, I think sticks around a while. I think it's the energy. I think it's the part of us that you cannot create nor destroy matter. You cannot create nor destroy energy. It's law of thermodynamics, right? It can only change form. So I'm pretty sure from that standpoint, that works to explain what happens to us when our bodies are no longer necessary, right? So that being said, feelings kind of really gets us in touch with that aspect of who we are, that component of, is this making me happy? Do I feel good at a soul level? Am I actually happy in my life versus, I'm trying to fill voids in my life with things or people or behaviors, right? Instead of all that, do I feel good, right? Just the way it is. I wake up every day, I do what I do, and life is wonderful and groovy. Some of us kind of vary on that. So feelings, again, is something that's really, really key. Now, one of the things that I consider very important, and there's 2 phases of it, and it ties in with chakra growth for those of you that are interested. I have done videos on chakras. You can search the word on my channel. You'll find them. But the big one that really matters is the 3rd chakra and the 4th chakra. It not really matters, but for what I'm talking about here, there's 2 feeling places that tend to exist in our life. There's the 3rd chakra, gut level. You have a gut feeling about something, right? You feel it. That's still intuition. It's a form of intuition. It's more of a physical, more of a earthly, helpful kind of intuition. And then there's what comes from kind of the heart level, which is more of that soul intuition, more of that etheric intuition, more of that feelings about things on a more deeper level, or on a more esoteric level. Just being able to touch with your higher self and see maybe a little further down the road than that gut level feeling thing can do. It's a little more right now, right here. The other feeling one's like, it feels kind of weird or scary, but I can kind of see this working out, right? Like it's able to perceive and maybe project even down the road and give us a little bit of guidance that can help us go a long way. So 3rd and 4th chakra, the difference between the 2, they call the great leap. I don't want to get too terribly into a whole awesome, wonderful topic, but the great leap is a big deal, and it really has to do with where you go from something that you can physically prove and see and touch to doing something because it feels right. And that separation from needing proof maybe, and that's not I don't mean that in any sort of good or bad way. It's just it's kind of what happens when it's like a lot of us are doing it with love. Love is a great way that you will make the great leap. You will do something because you feel so strongly about love that it bugs you, it nags you. You can't let go of it. You can't. You've tried. I tried to walk away, then this happens. I was like, right? Sometimes there is something that pushes us and draws us in a direction for whatever reason. And at some point we just surrender to it and say, all right, I don't know what it is, but I'm going down this road. I'm going to find out what the heck's over here. It feels so strong that I need to do it. So feelings will lead you in directions. And if you're not sure, kind of take a quick glance at your feet. Take a pulse. Like, yeah, how do I feel about this? If you got a decision to make, if you're wondering, should I give up? Should I this or that? It's one of those things where you can kind of see how you feel about it. Do I want to give up? I don't know. How do I feel? I don't feel good about that. Maybe I shouldn't. Or he walks in. Should I talk to him? Oh, I'm really nervous, but I really want to. Then yeah, do it. Yeah, you're nervous. I know that doesn't count. That's just you doing something you're uncomfortable with. That's often a great way to grow. But if it sounds and thinks and feels like a good idea, yeah, you're giddy about it. Nervous, sure. Nervous doesn't count. You're going to feel that way until you've done some of this crazy stuff. Also kind of, maybe some of you guys have noticed when you meet certain people, you get that feeling like they're good or bad, right? Like that intuition. That's another one that a lot of us have experienced. What is that? That's not anything real, right? It's not some sort of tangible thing, but you're picking up on someone's energy, on who they are from a soul level. And it's a very powerful thing. So sometimes if you're getting that vibe from someone that you're maybe going to partner up with, maybe for business or something like that, then, whoa, wait. Probably shouldn't consider that. And then on the other side, maybe you're with someone that's maybe young and not a lot of experience, but very eager, and you get a really good feeling about them. Sometimes you just got to go for it. So again, it'll help you make steps in directions that may not seem obvious at first, but when you have that feeling, when you learn to listen to those feelings, you're like, why do I feel like this is a good idea? I don't know, but I'm doing this today. Bum, here you go, sir. I am giving you 2 cheeseburgers. I don't know why. I just felt like the right thing. Oh, I really appreciate it, man, because I'm down on my luck, and I used to be a stockbroker or whatever, right? And then suddenly you're like, holy crud, I know somebody that can help you. That's amazing, right? Sometimes you do the weird thing, and there's a reason for it. So again, same concept really holds with some of our manifestations. Many of us are like, what should I do? What should I do? Don't worry about what you should do. Stay focused on the outcome that you're looking for. Stay focused out there, but understand that things might pop up along the way that require interaction, that require some sort of decision even maybe on your part. Or maybe open up your eyes to something that you hadn't thought about and you're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Let me incorporate that into all this. Like, I didn't think about that. That's wonderful. Now my reality, my dream that I'm thinking about has this extra component that I realize needs to be there that I initially I wasn't thinking about. So boom, here all of a sudden I've now enhanced this thing that I'm creating with a little bit more reality to it, a little bit more of it's living in the end, because that was an issue that I am living with, right? But I didn't realize I would need to. So in a way, it's preparing for it. So again, feelings will lead us in directions, and it's not like necessarily, oh, I love Joey, so I'm going to do this. I don't mean like that. Like the feeling, like when you think about like, should I text him? Should I not text him? Like, I don't know, if you don't really get any feeling for it, maybe it doesn't really matter. Maybe it's up to you. Maybe this is really you trying to project something or do something to get a reaction, right? Like, well, I want to know how he's doing, or right. There's a lot of things that we sometimes do, but again, that's probably not the best direction to go on that. But learning to read these feelings is probably the last little point I wanted to make on this, as I changed gears. Over time, you will have feelings and you will do things because of them. Or you might question somebody because, hey, it just feels like this right now. Or is that how you're feeling? I mean, I don't know. Because you're practicing, right? And one of the things I want you to play with, and don't necessarily tell people per se, but it's like I just did it there. Like, hey, it feels like you're kind of like feeling this way. Or is that kind of you're having a bad day? And by being empathetic like that, by noticing how people feel and then asking them and getting confirmation, you actually start to create kind of in your own knowing, your own being, a catalog of feelings and what they mean and what they translate to. And you'll actually find that certain things typically feel a certain way and other things typically feel another way. And you start to learn that rainbow of feelings. Sometimes it's in the middle and you're like, meh, it doesn't seem to matter. Like, I can't really get a solid read on this, or really maybe it doesn't matter. Like, it's irrelevant. What do you want? Do what you want. Tomato, tomato, it doesn't freaking matter, right? Versus, should I ever love this person, or should I give up and delete them from everywhere and send them a horrible text message and call them all the names in the world that I never did before? Like, well, there's two very drastic differences between those two things, and one of those could very well screw up the future, and the other one might buy you some time so you don't necessarily do something irrational. So sometimes feelings about it, like you think about like, should I? Well, I'll miss them. I don't want to. I'm not ready to make that decision. Well, okay, then don't do it yet. Don't force yourself to do something just because you're frustrated, just because something's not working right, just because you feel like it should be there already. Like, give things time. Keep working with it. Pay attention to how things are feeling. I mean, if the idea of your manifestation doesn't bring like wonderful feelings to you, then that's probably something to consider. Maybe you need to revamp your vision, your future, your thought of this thing. Maybe you need to put a little more thought into it. Maybe it needs to change completely. Maybe you're hung up on it being something that, now that you kind of have made some changes in your life, maybe you've moved, maybe you got a better job, maybe you're just kind of looking at life, maybe you're getting attention from people that you're like, whoa, I never got attention like this from Bobby. Now all of a sudden, wow, what's going on? Like, maybe you start to, a lot of things can happen. And that's what's hard too, doing a show, right? A lot of people are like, what about for this situation? I try to cover them all, but and then you cover too many and it starts to become difficult. So I'm trying to give guidance in the concepts, learning those feelings, learning what they mean, learning how they affect us, and learning where they can make the biggest difference in our life is super helpful. Hopefully this makes a difference. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Love you guys all. Stay on radio style.